Welcome to the Expertise Unlocked podcast, a part of IR Global, the largest international professional services network, and probably the most exclusive, I'm learning. It's really a wonderful group. I'm your host of the IR Digital podcast, Jennifer Riggins. Today, we're sitting down again with Paul Beare, who has his own company supporting a team of 38, helping overseas companies set up and do business in the UK. So for those that don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, sure. I started this probably under my own name about 9 years ago now, complete with the focus of helping overseas companies expand into the UK. Entity formation, banking support, corporate services, payroll, and of course the ongoing compliance, year-end accounts, tax work, etc. When I started this Microsoft Office 365, it was all still very much in its infancy, and I wanted to be able to access our data anywhere in the world securely. And now here I am sitting on the other side of the world in New Zealand, in Auckland, where I live for some of the year, talking to you. You're based in London, and most of the team are scattered throughout the UK, with a couple of colleagues based in New Zealand, coincidentally.
Wow. Well, for the context of perhaps our silliness, it's the very end of the day for you, Paul, and it's the very beginning of the day for me. And I'm really happy that we're able to join. And that's kind of the point of having a global network. So I think you've received an award recently. Please do tell what that award is.
Well, I'm very proud and humbled to have been nominated and claimed the title of Member of the Year for IR Global 2023, as announced in Amsterdam in September of last year. It was definitely a close competition from my side. I had two very strong candidates that I went up against with a lot of challenge through Michael and Caroline. And to be nominated for the award, let alone win the award, is just incredible. So to my fellow finalists, in fact, all of the finalists, not just Michael and Caroline, congratulations. And for those that voted for me, thank you very much.
Wow, I didn't know it was an election. I just thought it was a gauntlet. Battle it out. So let's talk about the network a bit. So how long have you been a member of IR Global?
So I've been member for just over 10 years now or so. Just over 10 years. I was a member previously for another firm, only for a handful of years. So I think it's probably something like 12-year active member, and then plus the additional year on top of that before I originally started attending the conferences. So I'm a 10 club member, which means I've been to 10 events or more. I have got certainly the gold status that's attached to some of the membership through effort, contribution, and proactiveness among members. And certainly, without a doubt, I've attended multiple conferences. So this weekend coming, I will be heading to Dubai for the first physical in-person conference of 2024. I'll then go on to London for various reasons, personal and professional, and then I will end my trip and return to Auckland from Copenhagen, where the regional M&A meetup will happen the second week of March.
Wow, it sounds like a wonderful trip, though. I think you'll be sad to leave the warm weather.
Sure, but of course I can't forget the corporate services practice area that I look after, along with a couple of other members as well, and I also sit on the ethics committee. So I've certainly been a firm foundation of IR Global and its beliefs over the 13-year period.
So what are those beliefs?
The beliefs are cross-border referrals in a transparent way. And what I mean by that is you, as a network, certainly an acclaimed network, you join the network as acquaintances. There's 1,300 members in the group as well, with different disciplines for each individual member. That's a big group. And out of acquaintances, you then become colleagues with one another. Not colleagues within the same firm, but of course you're looking to build a dynamic and work with another member or several members. In fact, I can recall a couple of situations where multiple members have collaborated on the same project, for example. And over a period of time, friendships are formed. And that's important because once the friendships occur and they form, cross referrals begin to flow. And I describe it actually, I've known members over a number of years that I now regard part of my extended family. And they become extended family because we all have the same like-mindedness. We're interested in cross-border activity. And through that, I'm really pleased to say that we've helped lots of clients through valued and trusted partners of the network.
That's really nice. Also, because when you're running your own business or you're self-employed like I am, like here I am at my co-working space where I pay $400 a month to play with other people's dogs and to have colleagues, but that I don't necessarily have to work with day to day. But
well,
I think
at least the dogs don't answer back.
Sometimes they do. And I welcome it. But I think it's really nice to have people with different perspectives on the same issue, and it's easier to make friends that way because you have ways to help each other. It just always feels good to be able to refer or be referred by someone you trust, and that's just a positive thing to be able to know people that do great stuff and tell other people about it.
But that's what it's all about. So if you're supporting your client expand, for example, in our situation, into another jurisdiction, I know, put my hand on heart, that I can pick the phone up to hundreds of members whom I've met numerous times and say, hey, I know this is your jurisdiction. It might not be your forte, but I know you'll know someone that can help. We've got a client that's looking to do this in Germany or this in Arizona, for example, whatever it may be. And actually, I can't help. I know someone that can. Our clients value that more than anything, in particular, a negative no.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And even if they don't choose that partner, the fact that you took the time to, first of all, not bullshit them. Sorry, we allowed to cuss on this podcast. Probably I have before, but to not bullshit them and pretend that you know what you're talking about and you don't. So you're only focused. I believe in focusing on your own niche and doing really well what you do well. And
Precisely.
then knowing people. But I guess one of the benefits of IR Global is it facilitates these deep relationships where you get to know other people's also super niche, deep value, where they're driving a specific benefit so that you can offer it more.
100%. And on the same basis, the fellow England-based members that we work with is incredible, because the amount of cross work that we do with one another as a firm in our own jurisdiction is actually quite cool. And I know that some other firms also have that, but I know that the English members, actually the UK members in particular, because of its geography, certainly work a lot on collaborative items with one another.
Plus, all ties rise. So if some of the members are doing well, that can help other members do well. So it doesn't need to be a competition.
Absolutely.
Really what I think the future should be more like. So I think you have a mentoring program you're working on now. Please, can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so shortly after the Amsterdam conference, I was thinking that the award is beautiful and the accolade and aura that goes with it is absolutely wonderful. But I also wanted to develop something where I could give something back. So future Member of the Year winners have a responsibility to pay it forward somehow. And I was sat thinking about how that could work. And in talking further with the team at IR Global, we've developed the mentoring program, which is available, as I understand it, for everyone, or it will be shortly in due course, but it's specifically at the moment aimed at the Rising Stars members. So they could be someone with currently studying or pre-qualified experience, or someone that's just beginning their career, or someone that's, say, 10 years into their career. So it's aimed, as I said, at paying it forward, and it's an opportunity for those Rising Star members to come along, have a session, a 30-minute session, and quite literally to talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about. So it's aimed at the development and enhancing of those rising stars, but of course, what one individual at the beginning of their journey is experiencing could be very different to what someone else is experiencing. That could be effective leadership, let's say, or motivating colleagues on a project, or even building one's self-confidence, for example. Ultimately, it will all work towards building a successful business pipeline for cross referrals and supporting fellow members with those cross-border transactions. So I may get shot down by future members of the year, but it's a responsibility for that 12-month period in recognition of the status, but also something to pay it forward and effectively develop the younger generation, younger career or age.
So if you didn't win, can you still mentor?
I am aware that there are other members that have approached me currently that have said actually they're keen to help mentor if the inquiries have been high. So I'm going to say yes is the answer to that. Yes, you can still mentor.
Okay. I like the ethos around IR Global, that it understands that we are a global world. That means part of it is it gives some of its profits to the Sinchi Foundation, which helps natives or indigenous people protect the earth, which shockingly they don't get a lot of money to do. It's usually it's usually the global north that's thinking they can. And then this also idea that give back within the network. And I think that's a very lovely homework you've assigned to the future members of the year.
But also, it's not, it could be leadership, as we've talked about, or a personal brand, but there's also differences in doing business internationally, whether it's culture, race, religion, for example. It could be anything. So in order to, as a slight digress, the Australia and New Zealand residents, there's a stigma attached to those individuals that haven't done what's called their OE, overseas experience. So if you're a 20-something-year-old individual and you've not gone to Europe and done a Contiki tour, for example, for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever that may be, or settled in London and done a stint for 2 years or so, there's a real sort of faux pas attached to that down in this part of the world, believe it or not. You talk about overseas experience.
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's privilege.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a big culture thing in this part of the world among that age bracket. So typically you'll get 2, 3, 4 of them that will go and do the stint together. Culture.
Yeah. And there's no way, if you haven't lived that experience, you could understand that culture. So as people are building their business to reach across borders, talking to people from those within those borders, or that have that unique innate experience, can help them build empathy.
Exactly.
And success.
Exactly. So hopefully the mentoring program, through the responsibility of the member of the year, hopefully that'll be a nice way to support those rising stars.
And I hope we see more people wanting to be member of the year because of it.
That would be lovely.
That would be lovely. Well, thank you so very much, Paul. If our listeners want to touch base with you and learn more about you, your services, or if they have more questions, or also if the members want to know about how to take advantage of your experience through a mentorship program or conversation, how do they get in touch, Paul?
I'm certainly very active on LinkedIn. They can reach out through their relationship manager through IR Global. Likewise, the website Paul Beare, that's BEARE.com. We'll find all the contact details through there.
Awesome. And thank you so much to our listeners. These Expertise Unlocked podcast episodes are meant to be an educational resource from experienced lawyers, accountants, and financial advisors, these trusted advisors that have extensive knowledge on topics you as professionals need to know about. And especially in this case, you as members of our global community or maybe considering to be part of it. To learn more about our digital net services, please visit irglobal.com. And if you found this episode useful, please consider sharing it in the community and beyond. Thank you so much, everybody.